In Frederick County, Virginia, citizens can see a military mine-resistant vehicle driving down county roads.
There are times when we do. I mean, we take, it looks like 7th Infantry coming down the road.
There are Humvees.
But, we're there to help and to save somebody's life.
And a 5-ton truck.
And at the end of the day, that's all we want to do, is to make sure that if you call us, we have whatever it takes.
Sheriff Lenny Milholland says he's acquired some of what it takes to help the citizens in his county from the Department of Defense through what's called the 1033 program. 1033 is a way for the military to get rid of equipment they don't need and police departments to get equipment they're looking for but can't necessarily afford to spend your tax dollars to get. It's free. They basically only have to pay for transport and maintenance.
There are gifts that we would like to have, things that are not in our budget.
Sometimes it's as harmless as a file cabinet. Other times it's an MRAP. In the almost 3 years since the Trump administration re-upped the program, Milholland's office has gotten more than $786,000 worth of gear, the most in our area. They're often used for search and rescue.
When it's high enough or if we have to go off-road, we can do that. If it runs into trees, it's not like running one of the police cars into a tree.
Why does local law enforcement need a mine-resistant vehicle?
Got anything that you can imagine on it that would protect the deputy.
Their records show they used the MRAP 13 times last year when serving search warrants. But in the weeks since the death of George Floyd, we've seen trucks like this used at protests across the country, like in Seattle and Minneapolis. Would you be using these armored vehicles against these protesters or for these protesters?
I don't want to say we would use them against the protesters, but we would use them, number one, to secure our personnel to get them into wherever we're going, and number two, in the event that somebody's injured, to get them out of there.
It's not just Frederick County. We analyzed the data. In total, law enforcement in Maryland and Virginia received more than $5 million worth of items troops sometimes used in combat to use right here on the streets of the DMV. Montgomery County got its mine-resistant vehicle in 2014. The Spotsylvania Sheriff's Office tells me it got an MRAP after a 2013 standoff where high-powered rifle rounds were fired at officers. We asked the Bladensburg, Maryland police chief about the 19 night vision sniper scopes it acquired in June of 2018. The chief, who took over in January of this year, didn't know about them until we asked. He says they've never been used and now could see them being helpful to locate missing people. But he tells me they will not be mounted to any weapons. Fredericksburg police also got night vision goggles, but say these came damaged, so they haven't used them. We showed our data to retired Maryland Police Major Neil Franklin. When you see just how many lines there are, what do you think?
I think we have a big problem.
Franklin is now the executive director of the Law Enforcement Action Partnership, which focuses on police reform. They think legislation is needed to end or decrease the 1033 program, and communities need to know just what equipment their police departments have and how they're using it.
They were designed for war, not the police protecting us within our communities. Right off the bat, it says, I'm in conflict with you. When this equipment comes onto the scene of a protest, of a peaceful assembly of any type, we know right away that the tension will rise.
Franklin gets the argument vehicles like this help protect law enforcement, but the retired cop believes those situations are few and far between. Milholland has this message to those like Franklin who don't think police need military equipment on civilian streets.
It's to protect you. We don't know from day to day what's going to happen. If that's the only thing that I have that's going to make you mad, but it's going to save somebody else's life, I'm sorry.
You might be wondering about MPD here in Washington. Well, their information is not included in this larger public database. So we asked if DC police are using the 1033 program and what equipment they've acquired. A spokesperson told us we'd have to put in a formal records request for that data. We are still waiting for a response to that.